think I'll just stand today. Won't put any pressure on anybody to come up. We'll just do that today. As this is an all-ages service, so I expect you all to participate. So I have a question for you. Have you ever told somebody something about yourself, and what they said back to you was, prove it? Have you ever heard that? How many of us have heard that? Okay. Well, several of us have anyway. Okay. So it would usually be something that the person wouldn't believe about you. Do you remember anything in particular? Anything you can share? Something that you might say, or, yes, Corey.
Well, he told the girls that if I could make 50 baskets before them, that they needed to practice in basketball.
Okay.
And I had to prove that.
Okay. Corey said she told the girls that she could make 50 baskets before them, and so she had to prove that in basketball. So she shot 50 baskets. Good for you. Anybody else? Yes, no.
Well, I told my roommates in college that I could rototill our backyard and turn it into a garden, and we didn't need their boyfriends to do it for them.
Okay, all right.
And I've been rototilling ever since.
Okay. So Helen said that she could rototill and didn't need her boyfriend's help, and she did just fine. Okay. All right, so I can make a funny mouth. Do you believe me?
Let's see.
Do you want me to prove it? Okay, all right. Can you do that? Anybody else do anything like that? Like this.
Oh, my daughter.
Have a rubber mouth.
Do it again.
Do it again? Okay. You don't need to. He knows I can do it. So, anyway, is there something special that you can do? And can you prove it?
Well, I used to be able to do it, but I don't think I can anymore.
What's that?
I used to sit on the floor like this.
Wow, good for you. Now I can do that. You need help getting up. Thank goodness. Yeah, some of these things you can do easily and can't get out. What can you do, Steve? You can lay all the way back. Oh, wow. Okay, so you are limber too. Okay. So all of you who are limber, that's great. Okay, so sometimes people want us to prove something that we've done. Okay, or sometimes they want us to prove who we are, or things that we do. So when somebody says to you, prove it, how does that make you feel? Challenged. Well, that's true, because you have to do something, don't you? If you accept the bait, right? Okay. All right. So if it's something that you can do easily, yes, that's easy. That's okay, right? So, but what happens if it's about who you are? That feels a little different, right? Prove that you're this kind of person, or whatever. Every once in a while, somebody will say to me that women can't be pastors. But if they said to me, prove that women can be pastors, it would be hard to do, even if I wanted to. So, today's lesson about Jesus tells about him dying on the cross, which is kind of an interesting thing. So, kids who know the circle of the church year, as we were just hearing about in the Godly Play, you know that usually Jesus dying on the cross means, what's the next holiday to come up? Easter. Okay, it would be Easter. Okay, but it isn't Easter. Okay? What holiday is about to come up? Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, and then Christmas. Okay, so, which is a little confusing. Today is what we call Christ the King Sunday. And it's the last Sunday in the church year, which is about Jesus as the King. Okay. This year we hear about Jesus being crucified. That's only the only one of the three texts that we have that has Jesus being crucified. So why do you think we hear about Jesus being crucified on Christ the King Sunday? Any ideas, anybody? Well, first, there's a sign that's over his head, isn't there? And what does the sign say? This is the King of the Jews. Okay. So it was supposed to make fun of him. But there are also 3 times that people say very challenging things to him. So first there are the leaders, and they say, what do they say? Want to look at your lesson? What do the leaders say? You saved yourself. Okay. Save yourself. He saved others, let him save himself. He's inside. Okay. All right. And then there are the soldiers. Okay. They give him sour wine to make him even more thirsty. And then they say, what do the soldiers say?
Save yourself.
They mocked him.
Same thing, save yourself, okay? If you are the king of the Jews, they say, save yourself. So finally, one of the 2 criminals who are being crucified with Jesus says to him, what does that person say?
Are you not?
Yeah, are you not the Messiah, the Christ? Save yourself and us. Well, they can't believe that he's a king. They want a different kind of king. So what would their kind of king do? How would he prove that he was a king? Any ideas?
Save himself, and then.
He would save himself and them. Okay, that's what they're saying. They're saying, prove it. They're saying, if you are, prove it. Okay. So he'd save himself. He might save all other people in trouble, like the criminals on the cross beside him. So, what else might a very powerful king do when people have hurt him so much that he's about to die?
Revenge.
Revenge. Okay. He might hurt them back. Okay? But that's not the kind of king Jesus is it? Jesus just ignores them as they yell at him, prove it. Prove you're the king of the Jews. Show us some power. If you are a savior, be a powerful one. Okay? I guess they can't see Jesus' power. Do you think Jesus has power? Okay. Well, what can we learn about Jesus' power? What kind of power does he have? If you look again at our lesson, get some clues.
He knows that he's going to rise. He knows his Father's going to save him.
So he has the power of faith, definitely. Okay.
He hasn't done anything wrong.
He knows that he hasn't done anything wrong. Okay. So he has trust that that he doesn't need to do anything. Okay. Well, he also does a couple of important things that the lesson talks about. First of all, he prays to God. And what does he say when he prays to God?
They know not what they do.
Okay. And what comes right before that?
Forgive them.
Forgive them. Okay. So forgive them because they don't know what they're doing. Okay. So what kind of power is that? That's a different kind of power.
It's a higher knowledge and trust.
Right. Okay. So he's trusting in his relationship with God. That's also the power of forgiveness that he has and that he knows that God has. Okay. So, even though they don't deserve it, right? That power of forgiveness. Okay. So they're going to keep on making fun of him, saying that he can't be a king. But he forgives them anyway. And he asks God to forgive them. The thing that comes, a hymn that comes to mind is, "The King of Love, my shepherd is." Okay, so that's a different kind of king. That's the King of Love. Okay. So what's the other thing that he does besides ask God to forgive them? what about his interaction with the criminal? What does he do?
Also make everyone happy in paradise.
Right. Okay. So, the other criminal says that Jesus hasn't done anything wrong. Okay, but the two of them are getting what they deserve. And he asks Jesus to remember him when he comes into his kingdom. Somehow he believes that Jesus is the king. And Jesus says to him, here's the truth. Today you'll be with me in paradise. Some people have a hard time with Jesus being a king like this. They may think that Jesus isn't God's son because he seems so powerless. Or they think he must have done something wrong because they crucified him, and they didn't just crucify people who were innocent. But they did crucify him, and he was innocent. What he proves is that he's a different kind of king of love. So there's one other thing that I want you to think about today. Our second lesson says that Jesus is the head of the body that is the church. What does a head do?
Guys.
Okay, controls the parts of the body. Okay, and you said guides. Okay, all right. So besides just being a nice place for hair and a smile, heads tell the body what to do, right? Okay. So if I move my hand like this, it doesn't just happen randomly. It happens because my head is telling my hand to move like this. Okay. So if Jesus is our king, if Jesus is our head, then he tells us how to behave. He tells us, act like I tell you to act, right? Okay? And what he tells us is, forgive people. Try not to let them make you mad. And that's always a work in progress, right? And care for people, no matter what they have done. And listen to receive signals from the head. Okay? So how do we listen to our head?
With our heart.
What did you say?
Heart, with our heart.
I still didn't hear you.
I said heart.
Oh, listen with our hearts. Okay, sure.
We listen with our ears.
Your ears.
But it also says, be still.
Yes, be still, yes. So that's right. Prayer, meditation, listening for signals from the head. Okay. All right. So we are Jesus' people. We are his body. And even though we aren't a very graceful body sometimes, okay, we trip and fall. We try to hurt other people. We know that we are some of the people that Jesus forgives. And that's pretty good news. Every day. Jesus is our